Today we are in the shop and we're going to be mounting up some beadlock. Chad Edmondson at Edmondson Off-Road hooked me up with some brand new KMC Grenade Beadlocks. These are super nice. So I'll show you how I'm going to get them on the tires here. So here is the beadlock out of the box, and these are 17 by 9 and they are a Super Duty lug pattern. So on all my Jeeps except for the Chief there are Super Duty lug patterns, so I can interchange my wheels if I want to from the Comanche to the LJ. The interesting thing about these wheels is that they have 2 valve stem holes. So I've got some valve stems that I'll be putting in, and then there's all the grade 8 hardware. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take these 4 bolts off right here. Alright, and I'm going to keep these washers on top of it, and I'll show you why here in a couple minutes. So the first thing I need to do is get some valve cores in, and I went and I got the extended versions just because these are kind of sunk in. And I just wanted to make it easier if I am airing up or airing down. I don't have to fight. You know, some of those off-road parks, they don't have the best chucks, air chucks. So I definitely want to be able to easily get in there to get to either one of the valve cores. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got some soapy water right here. I like Dawn and water. And make sure that you get one of these tools like this. This is an old one that I had to borrow, but what I like to do first is I'm going to go ahead and lubricate where it's going to be seating at. Just a little soapy water, and then a little soapy water on the valve core itself. Send this through. Just like that. You can see it seated perfectly right there. And in here also. So now I just got to do the second side. Alright, so I got you a little closer of how I'm doing this. So I've got the valve core all lubed up, and I'm going to send it through the hole. Then take my tool, tighten it up. Then I'll pull on it as much as I can. Just like that. So now that I got the valve cores both in, I'm actually going to be taking my 37 and putting on there. And I always like to make sure, so I know on these Toyos, one side has got the grooves in the word Toyo in the open country, and this side does not. So I'm going to put the groove side in. And these were the tires that were actually on my Comanche before I went to the 39-inch BFGs. So I've had these laying around. That's why they kind of got some shop dust on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some of this soapy water, and I'm actually going to spray the tire right here. And then I'll throw it on the beadlock. This is not pretty at all. But I just like to put it on some carpet, that way it's not just on, like, you know, concrete. But And what you do is you just kind of give it a little pounce like that, kind of like a leopard or something. So now that the wheel is inside of the tire, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 5-gallon bucket, turn it upside down, and then put the wheel on that. Get it nice and centered on the bucket there. And if you hear any rattling, that is, I did put some tire beads inside of there just to kind of give it some sort of balancing. But now we'll get the ring on since the tire is all the way down. So I've got the ring, and like I said, the washers that came off of it are still on here, and I left those that way I can line it back up the way it came out of the box. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I like it. So get that on there, get that lined up. So on here you can see like the valve stem is lined up with the KMC on both sides. I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little OCD. So these are the 4 bolts that first came out, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some anti-seize on the threads. I'm not going to put a crazy amount. Just go ahead and get these 4 hand tight, or hand started. Alright, so a lot of people say you're not supposed to use impact guns on beadlocks, but you can do it if you slowly work them down. So what I'm going to do before I get hated on in the comments is I'm just going to get this snug, and then I'm going to come back with a torque wrench and torque everything down in a star pattern. And what I did is I just got my DeWalt impact gun. I got it down in like first gear, so it's not even going like crazy fast or anything like that. And what I'm looking for is the bulge that is coming out of the ring right here, just to make sure everything's nice and even. Because if it's not even now, it's not going to be even when you got all the bolts in it. So I've got all the bolts ready to go in, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so I've already got my 4 in on these corners right here. I'm going to go in the middle of those corners and put 4 more. So I got my anti-seize on, get that one started, anti-seize here. And I will say this, it's probably like 100 degrees in my shop right now, but if you're doing this in the wintertime, what I found very helpful is I'll roll my tires outside and let them sit in the sun a couple of hours before I actually do this, and it makes a world of a difference. Because if you try to put these tires on, if they've been sitting in your shop and it's 30 degrees outside, they're not going to be happy. they're not gonna be as forgiving, I'll say. But luckily it is very, very hot in here. Lucky for me. All right, so I've got the original 4 snug down, and then I've got the additional 4 on. I've got them snug down. And what I'm doing is I'm just checking everything, just making sure there's nothing weird, you know, check up under here, make sure everything's looking the way it's supposed to, and that crack right there. And because what you want to do is you want this ring to go down at one time. You don't want to crank down on one side and crank down this side, because then it's going to ride like crap. So just take your time. You can do it. All right, so now in between those, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to start putting them all in. I'm just going to leave them high for right now. That way I know the ones that are already snug are already snug. So now I've got all the ones that I haven't snugged down. I'm going to start working on those, and I'm going to do in a star pattern. Just till it clicks. Alright, so I've got these all snugged down. Everything is looking nice and symmetrical. There's no bumps or any weird bulges or anything in the tire. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to torque these down in a sequence to 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. So I probably went around this a million times, torquing everything down to 32, because once you tighten a bolt down to 32, the next one, it kind of loosens up. So you definitely got to go around it a bunch, but you definitely want to make sure that they're all torqued down and tight to 32 foot-pounds. So now I have to seat the bead on the back side, and I'll show you how to do that. Once you get the soapy water on, I'm going to put it back on the bucket. That way the weight of the tire is pushing down on the wheel, and it will make it want it to seal better or seat better. Yep. I can hear the tire moving. I think it just seated. So I did spray some Dawn on the backside just to make sure that there was no leaks back there, and I wiped it down. So now what I'm going to do is just take some, I just put some auto detailer on a rag. I just want to get that dried up Dawn off of here. I think it looks pretty good. I just need to clean the tires up real good. But that's it. Just got 3 more to go. I've got all 4 mounted, and I've checked for leaks, and there's no leaks or anything like that. I just sprayed some Dawn on both sides, back and the front, just to make sure that didn't see any bubbles. And I couldn't help myself. I had to see what they looked like on my F-250, and I think they look pretty sick. But to be honest with you, these aren't for my truck. I had got them for the Comanche, but my steering arm on the Comanche comes in contact with a tire, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. May have to change my steering. I don't really want to put wheel spacers on the front of the Comanche, so I've got some homework to do for sure. But that looks really cool. I may end up running them on the F-250. But another option is I could get some wheel adapters for the Cherokee Chief and make it Super Duty pattern, the 8-on 170 millimeters, and then run these bad boys on the Chief. I think that'd be awesome. Now it looks like a dually, but I think those wheels would look really cool on it. But I'm gonna need y'all's help. I need y'all to put in the comments, what should I put these beadlocks on? Should I put them on the Chief? Should I put them on the 250? Should I modify the Comanche to run on it? I don't really want to put, I don't know what I want to do. So leave me a comment and tell me what to do. Man, I'm really digging that. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I am very hot and very tired, and I really want to go sit down somewhere in air conditioner because it is like 1,000,000 degrees in here. But anyway, I really appreciate y'all watching. Make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe so you can find out exactly what these beadlocks are going on. But anyway, I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you next time.